Agile 1. Did it? My name is Guilherme and I'm a project management specialist. I help professionals to become project managers. Before I start, don't forget to like and share this video here so it can reach more people and more people can learn project management. I think last week I was reading about Agile and project management in general when I saw someone posting, make a big text there saying that Agile won. So I decided, of course, to create something based on that because I think it's a very relevant discussion. Mainly when you talk about agile, agile is a big trend, and every company wants to go agile. Even though most companies they don't have idea what is agile about, they don't have an idea what's waterfall about, they don't have idea what project management is about. So what I'm going to do here today is talk about if Agile really won against Waterfall or Predictive, if you want to call it like that, and why I have those reasonings there. So let's first take a look there on the Agile Manifesto. Why the Agile Manifesto? Because it's when the entire movement started there. So let me open here my screen. Oh. So you can see here the first part of the Agile Manifesto. And they are talking about individual interactions over process and tools, working software, and over comprehensive documentation. And of course, you have some obvious conclusions that you can take there, or at least some conclusions that you should be able to take there, saying that the idea of Agile is to foster collaboration, that's empowering, respect people, that's team ownership, that the most important there, that is not the documentation, but the value that you deliver in the end, and you should focus on value. And let's take a look also on the second part of the Agile Manifesto, where they talk about customer collaboration, so focus on customers instead of contract negotiation, and also adaptability and flexibility, and like responding to change over following up plan. So when I look for the Agile Manifesto, the first thing that you can see here that's kind of this evolved a lot based on Lean. And if you don't know it, Lean comes from the Toyota production system that has been around for probably more than 70 years now. It started after the Second World War. But what does it have to do with the entire discussion Agile versus Waterfall? Because what Agile is bringing there, and is what Agile is focusing a lot on there, is on the culture and value part of project management. So you say, oh, but then it's good. But my point is, those things they were always there. So if you are following a waterfall project there, you are always need to look for customer collaboration. Of course, depending on the type of contract, it will not help you to have a fixed price contract there. And you say, okay, let's collaborate instead of discuss contracts. In the end, companies they need to make money, and without money, they just will close. Like money is kind of like oxygen for a company. If the companies they don't have money, they will not exist. Of course, like oxygens, you don't live to breathe, but without oxygen, you die. So that's the same thing for companies. They do not live, or they should not live just for money, but without money, they are going to die. So, and when this person was arguing that Agile wants, and he was using the PMBOK as reference here, so I'm going to put here also the PMBOK principles to give you some background. If you don't know it, PMBOK updated the new edition, the 7th edition of the PMBOK. That comes from I think about few years ago. Don't remember exactly when. They changed it from a process based from a principle based standard there. That's the thing. And of course, they're focusing on very important principles for project management like stewardship, team, stakeholders, value, system thinking, tailoring quality and complexity, risk, adaptability, resiliency, and change. First, what you need to understand principles are universal. So they always been there. So since the beginning, if you're executing project management, they have always been there, those principles. Right now, what PMBOK is doing is highlighting them. And I have been working with project management for more than 13 years now. I've worked with infrastructure like energy construction in Brazil. I've worked in automotive supply chain development. I've worked with automotive product development. I'm working with semiconductor product development. I've worked with service development for healthcare. All own those things in different types of projects, different countries, and so on. I've never seen a project in my life that has no change. Because for the simple fact that you can imagine, change is unavoidable. And the arguing that Agile wants because now PMBOK they are talking about change, change was always there. What happened with the changes? You always need to assess the type of change. And in some type of projects, change will be much more costly and time consuming. If you say, I always like this example, you are building a bridge, you just completed the foundation, then suddenly you say, but actually we need to do an iteration here, we need to change the foundation. Well, there's depending what kind of change you are talking about, the only way you can change it is destroy everything that was done and build it again. And if it's in a bridge, that will cost probably weeks or months and maybe few millions of dollars to do that. So the entire discussion does not make sense if Agile won or not. And saying that Agile won because now PMBOK talks about value, PMBOK talks about change, PMBOK talks about leadership. I have been studying project management and working with that since 2009. Project management without leadership, doing being a project manager without any exercising leadership, it's impossible. You're setting up for fail if you don't have any leadership skills. You don't focus on leadership skills. If you don't focus on developing your team, you're setting up to fail. So saying that because of now the PMBOK has principles that includes change and value, team and leadership, simply agile ones against predictive, I can tell you if you're following a waterfall approach, if you're doing a predictive there, and you're not considering your team, you're not exercising leadership, and if you're not prepared for the change, you can have different ways to prepare, and if you're not tackling the change that you have there, what I can guarantee to you that your project is going to fail. So the entire discussion, agile and waterfall, it's a completely waste of time. First of all, Agile did not invent leadership. Agile did not invent those principles. Those principles of good leadership, of team building, they have been there for decades already. And I'm saying that but if you probably if you look around, look back for leadership things, you're going to be able to find from Stoicism, for example, stuff from more than 2,000 years ago. So the entire idea that Agile owns this kind of stuff, it's a complete nonsense. Principles are universal, and that's the point of the PMBOK here. Focusing as a project manager, if you understand the basic principles that you need to execute, then you can choose whatever you fits as better framework for your situation. You go for waterfall, you can go for Scrum, you can go for Kanban, you can go for a hybrid, you can go for extreme programming, or whatever you want to think about it. But stop thinking of, and this entire discussion for me and Agile and Waterfall is so nonsense. This is from people that usually they are in love with a specific framework. Meaning that, what do I mean by that? Well, if you try to execute a construction project with Scrum, very likely you're going to have problems. Depending on for example, I'm working in new product development. To adapt some types of product, it takes literally months and costs thousands of dollars to do that. So it's not like you can just, oh, I'm not taking, I'm going to learn the product step by step. No, you need to make sure you are investing in your requirements there. You are investing in understanding your requirements there. Otherwise, that will cost you a lot of delay and a lot of extra cost and a lot of frustration for the entire team to try to use Scrum blindly like that. Because also for some products, it's very difficult to say, oh, I don't want these requirements here. Say, let's if you're talking about a car, for example. For example, your radio that's not critical for the car. Let's sell the car without the radio. Yes, it's possible to sell the car without the radio. But if there's someone selling the same car with the same price with the radio, you're going to buy the best one. That's a very simple reason. And it's not like you can come back, hey, you bought a car here, but now I'm going to install the radio for it. That does not work. Does not make sense. And what I see a lot is a lot of those people from and because yeah, I've worked a lot with waterfall, and I've worked in agile environments. I've been in conference and trainings, is looking for participating in agile case discussions, in agile transformation discussions. What you see is from one side, people working waterfall. They have no idea what agile means, but they just want to defend what they're doing. And in the other hand, you have people working with agile, maybe with Scrum. They have no idea about waterfall. They have no idea about how projects work in different environments because those people very often they only work with IT, which is not a bad thing at all. But the type of constraints that you have when you are working with an IT project, they are quite different from the type of constraints when you are working with a construction project, which are also very different from the type of constraints when you are working with new product development projects. When I'm talking about physical products, so all those situations they are different. So you cannot fit one solution for everything. That kind of stuff does not exist. Of course, if you tell me, should you follow if you think about the agile principles there, should you follow the leadership things that you have there, leadership, team development, fostering the right culture, fostering the right values for your team? Of course, 100%. Do that if you want to succeed as a project manager in any type of project. You should look for a sustainable piece. You should empower your team to make sure you get the best of your people and you can get the best results possible there. But if you're asking me, should you follow Scrum for all the types of projects? Absolutely not. Don't try to do that. And mainly because Scrum, Agile is not only Scrum. You have different you have different types of framework there. So stop thinking about this duality, black and white. There's no black and white in the project management world. There's only what will fit for a best, what will fit better for a best in this situation. Because in the end, companies they don't care about waterfall. Companies they don't care about agile. Companies they don't care about Scrum. They don't care about Kanban. What they want is the result that those things can bring. The result, the final outcome that you have there. That's what's important. So if you're following, say, I'm following waterfall here, looking for the PM Box 6th edition, looking for the 49 processes that you have there in the 10 different knowledge areas, and I'm following step by step. But if you're doing that, likely you're wasting money. You're introducing a lot of waste, a lot of unnecessary bureaucracy in your process, and you're not doing the right project management things. You're not following the right project management principles there. If you're doing Scrum just because I'm not even mentioning, there's a lot of companies that are trying to do Scrum, and they are looking Scrum as a process, as a framework that you can use it, and you're trying to implement it without considering the cultural part, without the value part, and which of course does not work. So if you are looking at as an agile as a process, you already fail from the start. And in the end, companies they don't care. Why they stop using what a fully waterfall approach with software? Because then in the end that causes a lot of delay, a lot of extra cost, and a lot of frustration. What they can achieve using one of the agile frameworks like Scrum, well, they can reduce the amount of frustration, they can deliver faster and with less cost. What does it mean? It has value. That's why the organizations are doing that. The organizations don't care about the Scrum Guide, the Agile Manifesto, the PMBOK, or anything else. What a company wants is the value that the project was created for. So every project is created with expecting a specific outcome, a specific value delivery in the end. And that's what a company wants. How we are going to do that, it can differ a lot in the kind, depending on the kind of environment that you are. I can tell you if I can tell you that does not mean so. How we are going to do it, it's a different discussion. So stop getting stuck on the documentation there, saying, "Ah, I'm going to follow these documents are must have." No, you read it. There's no must have document in any type of project. Of course, all projects they are going to have some type of documentation. And if it's going to be a statement of work, a WBS, a product backlog, or would be a specification or a contract, can be in a very different ways. But stop trying to have one thing that fits everything. That does not exist usually. That does not exist in project management. If you are trying to do that, it's kind of you are trying to build a house using the same tool every time. So you have a drill and you say, now I'm going to build a house. Then you try to put a nail. What you're going to do, you're going to drill a hole to put a nail there. That does not work. This is not the goal of the tool. So then you take a hammer. Now I'm going to use just a hammer to build all the house. That does not work. If you need to dig something, you need a digger, not a hammer. If you want to make a drill in the wall, you need a driller. So stop looking that the perspective that way. Focus on value delivery. Focus on your developing your leadership skills. Focus on developing your team. Because in the end, your team, the right culture, the right values with your team in your leadership, that's what's going to bring you an edge to deliver more value for an organization. It's not about waterfall, it's not about Scrum, it's not about Agile. And I can tell you that a lot of companies they don't even care about Lean. What they want the outcome that you can have with Lean. So if you have a good culture, if you are improving your team, if you are empowering your team, usually you develop a good working environment that helps people to flourish, that helps to people to bring up their skills in the best way possible, which in the end brings better results, better outcomes, better value for the organization. And that's what matters in the end. No one is thinking about, I'm going to use Lean, I'm going to use Six Sigma. Why? Just because I love the mic. No one cares. What can you do with the mic? Can you add value? Yes. So yes, that's important. No, I cannot add any value. So you are wasting time. That's why when you talk about that's why it's so nice to understand the definition of value from Lean or the definition of value from Toyota. That says, then let me present that to you if you don't know that, because this is quite important. What's value there? That's something that's going to transform the form or function of a service or product. The customer must be willing to pay for that and it needs to be done right the first time. That's value. All the other thing that you add up and all the other thing that you need to add up, it's waste. And I'm saying that someone might be thinking, yes, but you need documentation because it's important for audits to make sure that you have traceability, to make sure that you can bring structure and clarity. Yes, you need that. No one is arguing that you need it. That's why you are never going to see a process that's 100% value. Waste, it's unavoidable. That's always there. But what's the difference if you're looking with this optic here that I'm presenting to you with focus on value? You're going to look for what's needed to execute a task, and that's exactly how you should look also when you think about the Agile Manifesto, but how you should look out when you talk about the project management, how you should look about when you look for the PM Box 7 or 6 editions there. What kind of documentation, what kind of process does it make sense in a specific situation? So coming back, if you're using waterfall, there's 49 processes there, 10 different knowledge areas. Does it mean that you need to follow all of them? No, you don't need to follow all of those items step by step as prescribed in the PMBOK. And it's written in the PMBOK, and it has been written there for, I don't know, for since from what I recall, since the 4 or 5 edition, that the project manager should not look at the PMBOK as a methodology or as a framework to be executed. It should look as a standard with best practices. And it's up to the project manager to decide what makes sense in his or her specific situation. In other words, what does it add value for your situation? If you are working in a small project, you don't need to create a communication plan if you are working with five people that everyone is sitting in the same room. Well, if you are working in a project that has that's 10,000 of people, probably makes sense to have a communication plan. So there are all those differences there. So it's not about agile one or agile is not one. As long as you can add value, that's what matter. And if you tell me I can add more value because I'm working with IT, so I can add more value if I'm using Scrum. Beautiful. Go and do that. If you are working with waterfall, I can add more value with waterfall because I'm working in a construction environment. Beautiful. Go and do that. But keep in mind that that should not stop you to learn Agile if you are only working with Waterfall, and that should not stop if you are working with Agile to learn Waterfall. Why? Because more you learn, more skills that you are going to build, you are going to start to see things in different perspectives. You are going to start to understand. Uh, if you look, for example, for waterfall, you are going to have this big framework with all the steps that you need there. That helps you to build a systemic view on what everything that could possibly be in a project. Does it mean that you use everything? No. If you work with the agile, you are going to see how, for example, how Scrum can add value in your organization, which is focusing developing leadership and empowering their teams and developing their team good team members there and also developing the team work as a whole, focusing on value prioritization, reducing feedback loops with the customer and for the team. Those are three critical points that how Scrum add value. So if you learn, say, oh, but I can also do that if I'm using waterfall. I need to adapt, of course. I'm not going to do exactly uh, sprint planning, dailies, sprint retrospective, and sprint review, as stated there. But I can understand the concept and I can apply for a specific situation that I have here. That's the skill that will make you relevant as a project manager. Not fighting if it's agile or fighting because it needs to be waterfall. That's the only thing that will make you it's less relevant for the situation that we have. Because what has come out from latest research from PMBOK, not from PMBOK, sorry, from PMI, is that both the 100% agile and the 100% waterfall approach are going down. And why they're going down? Because people start to understand that does not matter if you're using waterfall or if you're using agile. What matters is the value delivery. And if you're in the state that you know both, you can look, okay, for my case, this makes sense from a waterfall approach. And it makes sense that I include those items here if I'm looking even for example, Scrum. One of the things that you can do in any type of thing from Scrum, run kind of sprint retrospective. Of course, we are going to adapt from what for your reality, but what's a sprint retrospective? The team discuss what went wrong, what went right, and how you can improve collaboration. So if you do that in your team often, maybe once a month, you can improve the relationship among the team members, you can improve the trust among the team members, and the team tends to work better together. And if all the parts of the team they are working better together, you are going to be able to deliver more value. It can be delivering more quality, delivering things faster with lower cost, with less issues, with less conflict. So this is value for the organization. Something that you need to think about, for example, from waterfall, that you are not going to look, for example, if you look in the Scrum guide, a governance framework. All projects they require governance. The idea is that you are going to have a budget that you are going to run sprint in, sprint out, without any accountability. from what's going on or without any question that does not exist, simply because of the fact that no organization has unlimited resource. So if you have a budget of $2 million, $3 million to develop something, you're going to get questions to see how the budget is going. Are you going to deliver the value that you are looking for? That's normal part of any business. And if you run out on impediments, it's important to have a governance structure that helps you to escalate in case you need to clear roadblocks. And that's something that you see so obviously, like for projects more falling waterfall. And I've been like in group discussions with the Scrum Masters, and we were talking about even the Kanban maturity model in different levels, how you can do that. And they basically they had no kind of governance or no kind of escalation path they could use in case they reach a big roadblock there and they need help. And I'm not saying that if you are requesting that a governance needs to be very complicated, that needs to be bureaucratic, but sometimes you need help to run roadblocks because you might be that you need someone from a different department to support something in the team, but they are saying they don't have time or it's not their priority. So escalating this issue can make their a priority and will help you to clear a roadblock for your team. That's very simple. If you have an organization that's running several teams working together in parallel, very likely at some point you're going to run in conflict. What kind of conflict? Because the resources are limited. And I've seen all types of conflict that you can have from software license. Something very basic. Oh, if you escalate, you buy more software license because usually you need to approve extra budget for that. That's a way to clear a roadblock for that. Prioritization. Sometimes you need something faster because the project might be impacting different ways. It can be all types of prioritization because of customer legal requirements or anything else. But a governance is always required. How you're going to establish this governance, that's a different type of discussion, of course. But running projects without any governance structure, that also you're going to have a lot of roadblocks that the team cannot clear it because it's outside basically of their power. And I do understand, but it's a self-managed team, and they are going to take the initiative to try to solve it. Yes, but if it's to buy a license, that's a software license, that's basically outside of their control, and it's extra budget approval. You need to have a governance to scale this up. Come say that's a problem. Here's the case. That's what I need from you. That's how you do it. You don't need to say that we have a problem. We don't know how to do it. Of course, the team can come up with a solution. The team can work up a solution. But a lot of times you are going to need further approval for that. You're not going to be able to approve a solution that costs 10 million or 5 million or a million, half a million, whatever you're doing there, without additional approval. That's how our organizations work. And it then makes sense. You cannot have other organization, they don't have unlimited amount of money that people can just go and decide, I need half a million here, do that. That's not organized. That's not the structure that you need. And why I'm saying all those things? To come back to the point, to the first question, Agile won. Did it? I don't think so. Because first of all, it's not a competition. Waterfall versus Agile. If you're seeing like that, you are seeing this in a wrong way. Mainly Agile, the entire culture about Agile, the mindset, it's about collaboration, how to work together, how to focus on value. That's why I started presenting a bit the I started presenting the Agile Manifesto, and then I talk about the PMBOK principles. So if you're saying I'm following Agile, but the first thing that you're competing with other part of your organization there because they are doing waterfall, you're already doing this wrong. It's not about excluding people from this. It's not about saying I'm better and I'm doing better than you. So if you do that, you're going against the leadership and the collaboration that you need for the entire organization to evolve. So if you're working in your organization, should not be one department fighting the other department. All parts of the organization they must work together to achieve a common goal, to achieve a value that you have in the end there. That's very important way to see that. Stop this discussion agile versus waterfall. Instead of discussing if agile won or not, learn waterfall, learn agile, learn how to tailor these, learn how to have a hybrid approach, learn how you can have value from the different aspects, from the different approach there. Because if you do that, then you are going to be a very differentiated type of professional that's not so easy to find around. And I can tell you that for experience, that's not easy to find around people with good project management skills. It's not easy to find people that has this continuous mindset of learning. It's not easy to find out people that are even open to learn and to change. Because that's where we are heading to the future. If you are thinking about artificial intelligence, that will bring a bunch of other changes here, how you do it, and very likely will affect how projects are going. And they should. Hopefully, we can get a lot of efficiencies in being done there. And if you want to be the type of professional that has a high demand in the future, you need to understand those types of things. Otherwise, you're always going to be struggling. And if at some point agile, no, people are not using agile and something else come up, that I don't know if something else will come up, but that might as well be. I've seen people talking about DevOps and saying that agile is things from the past in the IT environment, and talking about DevOps more and more and more. I do not know what's the evolution there, but how do you prepare yourself? You prepare yourself understanding that your focus is to deliver value. So if it's 5 years from now, a better tool comes up that helps you to deliver more value, I don't care if it's waterfall, I don't care if it's agile, I don't care whatever the name they invented. If it helps you to deliver value, you should learn it, you should learn how to use it, and you should start to using it. To avoid that you stay, then don't fall in love with tools, don't fall in love with methodologies, don't fall in love with approach. Those things evolve and those things change. What will never change is the focus of delivery value, because that's what all the organizations they want in the end. They want the outcomes. That's to put this in a very simple way with a very simple analogy. If you go to the gym, what do you want there? You don't go to the gym because, or at least most of people don't want to go. You don't want to go to the. You don't go to the gym because you like to doing push-ups. You want to get healthy, or you want to get fit, or you want to get stronger. That's your outcome there. The push-up is just a mean to an end there. Exactly the same thing with all those approaches here. So stop focusing here and saying, I'm going to do more push-ups than you. Say, yeah, but I'm not, I don't care about the push-ups. If you can do the push-ups and if you go to the gym and only do the push-ups, there's all the other parts of your body that they're not trained to compete with with other stuff. So you're not going to be fit. So focus on outcomes, focus on value delivery. And that's why you see those things as PMBOK principles there. And the PMBOK principles, they don't mean that companies using waterfall, they're not going to use those type of frameworks. It just means that if you focus on those principles, you are going to find the right way to deliver your outcome. And that right way or the best way, there's no right way. The best way, it can vary a lot from organization to organization. So stop focusing on waterfall or agile. Stop focusing. That's not a competition. That's not a war to be won. Find a way to conciliate both. And then you're going to be able to deliver much more value to your organization than if you're just focusing on one of the things. Don't forget here to share this video so more people can learn about project management, more people can learn about agile and waterfall, and hopefully we stop this nonsense discussion there about waterfall and agile, and we start to focusing how we can use everything there to deliver more value for your projects there. And don't forget here also to follow me for more content. Every week there's more content on my YouTube channel. Every week there's more content there on Instagram. On Instagram there's a daily Q&A box where you can ask questions, and you can take a look in the link here in the description of the video where you can find all my links for YouTube, Instagram, for development programs, for mentoring, or for anything else. Thank you and see you around. Bye.